foreign funding. Nagpur's top cop Ravindra Singhal has said that 11 of those 80 arrested are minors. And the probe officials suspect that the Minorities Democratic Party received funding from foreign sources, possibly from Bangladesh. However, other sources of funding are also being looked at. So as far as the Aurangzeb row is only getting murkier and Nagpur violence is being the biggest fallout of it, is there more than what meets the eye? That's the question we'll be posing to our guests in just a bit.
आर्म्ड एग्रेशन को बढ़ाने के लिए और सबवर्सिव एक्टिविटी को बढ़ाने के लिए वो प्रकार के पोस्ट डाले गए हैं। उस वाले उन लोगों के ऊपर केवल ये देशद्रोह का कलम लगाया गया। 4 एफआईआर दाखिल हुए जिसमें 50 के ऊपर अभी तक आरोपी हैं, लेकिन और भी प्रोफाइल स्टडी करके वो आरोपी बढ़ाए जाएंगे।
अभी तक वो 2-3 जगह पे दिखा है और उसकी मूवमेंट्स हैं काफ़ी सारी, उसकी हिस्ट्री भी देखी जा रही है, उसका क्या हिस्ट्री, ये सारी चीज़ें जो है एक पर्टिकुलर चीज़ की तरफ हमें लेके जा रही हैं और उसी हिसाब से हमारी इन्वेस्टिगेशन चालू है।
त्यांनी पोलिसांवर हल्ला केलेला आहे, त्यांना कबरीत नाही खोदून काढू, सोडणार नाही। बाकी सगळ्या गोष्टी क्षम्य आहेत, पण पोलिसांवर हल्ला हा क्षम्य नाही। त्यामुळे त्यांच्यावर ही स्ट्रिक्टेस्ट कारवाई आहे, ती कारवाई करून
भारत के महापुरुषों के प्रति श्रद्धा और सम्मान का भाव और नागरिक का दायित्व होना चाहिए और स्थितियों में किसी भी आक्रांता को महिमा मंडन नहीं करना चाहिए।
All right, let me introduce our guests today. I am in fact joined in by Mr. C.S. Jha, who is the spokesperson for the Shiv Sena UBT, Mr. Krishna Hegde, who is the spokesperson for the Shinde Sena. Many thanks to you, gentlemen, for joining in. Mr. Jha, I want to ask you, first of all, why would Aditya Thackeray make a statement such as the BJP government or say the alliance in Maharashtra want to convert Maharashtra into a Manipur-like situation?
See, the things which have been done in this past 2-3 days, and the riot which is being which has happened in Nagpur, and the premeditation and all those facts, the evidence which has come right now, it's very scathing evidences which are coming right now. These things were required to be controlled beforehand. So these things have not happened within a day or two. It was planned. It was deliberately been done, and everything should have been within the knowledge of the Home Department, the State Intelligence Unit, the CM itself, because he is the in charge of the Home Department. So these things coming are out of the evidences which are very much in the public media right now. So these things suggest that this government has failed in controlling the law and order situation in Nagpur. And eventually, if you see, the Nagpur belongs to the ministers in the central.
Yes.
Even the CM belongs from Nagpur.
Yes.
So these things seem to be a very dicey situation with the Maharashtra CM and the BJP ruled government.
Okay.
So these things have to be controlled, and it should have been controlled. So pertinent questions are being asked. We are not asking anything out of the context.
Krishna Hegde, how do you respond to that? Of course, given that this has happened in the Chief Minister's backyard, Nagpur, his hometown, you're looking at the RSS headquarters, you're also looking at the home state or the hometown for, say, Nitin Gadkari. Many are asking questions now. Was the Chief Minister caught unaware because of this violence?
No, not at all, Akanksha. I must tell you that firstly, I must thank the ASI for cordoning off Aurangzeb's grave, and I thank the central government also for doing that. And this is not only about Nagpur; it is about Abu Azmi, It is about Imran Masood. It is about Akbaruddin OSC who gives a 15-minute dhamki. It is about Asauddin OSC. It is about Sajjad Nomani. It is about an actress who keep glorifying Aurangzeb all the time. And wherever there is action, there is going to be a reaction. And let me also tell you that if I ask the same thing to my friend Mr. Jha, what happened during your administration in the Uddhav Thackeray government? Two sadhus were killed in Palkar, in Palghar. Mansukh Hiren was killed. Bombs were planted under a industrialist house, and therefore you have no answers. But let me tell you very clear: our government, Mayuthi government, means action. We have arrested over 50, 60 people. Over that, we put Fahim Khan in jail. Over that, the other conspirators are also in jail. The link between Bangladesh and whoever has spread the rumors through social media have all been discovered. Action is being taken against them. People who have used social media platform to, create rumors and disturb the peace and harmony of Nagpur, they have also been identified. And therefore, I will tell you, this government means action, and we have taken action.
All
And
right.
within a couple of hours, we have controlled whatever disturbance was there in Maharashtra. And we will see that henceforth, no one has the guts to attack the Maharashtra police. And we have been firm on that. And our CM on the floor of the House has also mentioned the same thing, that whoever has attacked the police, we will get them out from their grave. Forget Aurangzeb. Even his loyalists who are living in the country, whether they are political or non-political, which we see, whether it is Ram Navami, whether it is Dasara, or whether it is Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Jayanti, these people come out every year and wave a photo of Aurangzeb and try to create a law and order problem.
Krishna,
And therefore, these people will be punished.
Okay, CS Jha, let me bring you in. All right, I see Mr. R.P. Singh's just now joined. Sardar R.P. Singh, thank you for joining in. I want to ask you, many are now raising questions about the awareness of the Chief Minister after the violence that plagued Nagpur. They're saying that given that the Home Department belongs to the Chief Minister, questions are now bound to be raised that was the administration and was the government itself caught napping?
Well, even if I accept that there was a intelligence failure, but how come there are people who are supporting Aurangzeb or who are standing by Aurangzeb? People who want to justify what Aurangzeb did. That's a bigger question. And obviously, all that what happened, the arrests and the loot, the way the police were being beaten, or even the axe was being used on one of the DCPs. So that is more important. That what was the reason for such provocation? And then who is more important to you? Aurangzeb is more important, or country is more important to you?
CS Jha, I'd like you to answer that question. Who has unleashed these, who's been fanning the communal sentiments to this extent? Because in fact, critics of the previous governments have always questioned how the killings of the Palghar priests went. They've still been awaiting justice. What explains the kind of fanning of the communal sentiment at the moment? Who's been giving a free hand to parties like the Minority Democratic Party?
See, this free hand must have been given by the ruling dispensation. And we are in opposition. We are always questioning about these things from the last 1.5 years, for the last 2.5 years from
But
when
Mr.
the
Jha, have you
government was
questioned the Samajwadi Party when Abu Azmi
Yes, we did not
has
support.
lent
We did not supported the statement made by the leader of the Samajwadi Party. We categorically said that he should be removed from his post. And particularly, if you see, we have made statements in the media also that we cannot glorify Aurangzeb. Nobody is glorifying Aurangzeb. You put his grave into the ocean. We are not concerned. We are concerned with the safety and security of the public. We are concerned about the law and order of the state. We are concerned about the pertinent questions from the opposition to the ruling.
Mr. Jha, if you are concerned, then why is in fact Uddhav Thackeray asking questions about what will Chandrababu Naidu have to say, or what will Nitish Kumar have to say? You're clearly alluding
Yes,
to
there-
the
there-
minority
there's-
votes and
Yes.
to the appeasement of the minority
Yes,
votes.
because in Andhra Pradesh, 5% reservation to the minorities have been given. Under whose instruction? The BJP is with the ruling dispensation in the Andhra Pradesh.
Okay,
And
okay.
Chandrababu
On that note,
Naidu
I
is
see
in
Sardar
charge.
RP Singh was wanting to make a point, and I'll come to you, Mr. Hegde, as well. Sardar RP Singh, please.
Well, have you ever seen how DNA changes when you have friends of different DNA and when they rub you off and then your DNA changes? Huh? DNA of Bala Sahib has changed to Muhammad bin Qasim's DNA or Babar's DNA. It's shocking when they are asking question to Naidu ji or asking question to Nitish Kumar ji about how will they support the BJP government or not in the center. And this clearly shows that you are no more a nationalist party, you are no more a Hindu party, you are simply tail waggers in front of Sonia Gandhi ji and Mr. Sharad Pawar. That's what all you are left with today.
Siyasja, I want to bring you in.
See, the thing is that when you question anybody, you should also question yourself that you are having a party who you have objected to that they will not be taken into your alliance. And who is that party? The party which was linked with the Dawood. So you are having that party. Don't question us about our integrity. You also question about your integrity is what you have done. So these things are in politics. We don't question about these, but the question is about the public who are suffering.
Issue is the ideology, sir. You had
No.
dumped your ideology instead of dumping
the
the
suffering,
grave
the law
of
and order,
Aurangzeb. You have dumped your
the
ideology.
issue of
You
Aurangzeb.
have
We are
dumped
not
your ideology
glorifying
into the
about
sea.
Aurangzeb. You are speaking about all the time about Aurangzeb. We are not concerned with the Aurangzeb. You throw them into the ocean.
All right,
We are
Krishna
not
Hegde
concerned.
wants to make a point. Krishna Hegde, please go ahead.
No, we are not interested in Aurangzeb at all. But after 350 years, it's their leaders, the India Alliance leaders, who have brought Aurangzeb to life, and we have nothing to do with it. We know where Aurangzeb rests, and we know where to show him his place.
No,
Secondly, let me
point
tell
taken,
you.
Krishna Hegde. Do keep
No,
in mind, I want to also bring your attention to the statement that's come in from RSS yesterday when they say that Aurangzeb is irrelevant in today's day and age. Then if he is so irrelevant, why dig up the dead? Literally.
No, let me tell you one thing. What Mr. Jha said. What is Balasaheb Thackeray's ideology? He was a proponent of Hindutva, and the party formed by him, Shiv Sena, is with us. And look at the ideology of Uddhav Thackerayji. He has gone in for Muslim appeasement. He has become a Sonia Sena. And let me and tell me if I am wrong. To speak about Shivaji Maharaj's valor or bravery, you don't need Aurangzeb's grave. If Osama bin Laden has been the face of terrorism in the world, show me his grave. There is no grave of Osama bin Laden. And therefore, Osama bin Laden and Aurangzeb are same to us. We are not taking Aurangzeb as a Muslim, but we are talking about him as a tyrant who killed his own father, who killed Guru Tegh Bahadur, who killed other Sikh gurus, who disturbed Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, who imprisoned his own father, and that's the kind of tyrant. He is the person who demolished Kashi, Mathura, and Somnath temples, and he destroyed thousands of temples and killed lakhs of Hindus. And therefore, such a person has no place in the history of India, though he may be a former ruler of India. But I don't think people who worship him and talk about him, and you have been seeing clips of Nagpur where a mob is saying Jai Jaikar to Aurangzeb. Is that possible in India? Is it possible in Hindustan?
I think
And
that's a
what kind
fair
of people?
point. That's a
And we are
fair
talking
point.
about-
Give me
and we are
okay,
not
okay,
against
okay,
Muslims.
okay. Can I make a small point?
Mr. Singh, how do you assess, when even though you have an Uddhav Thackeray saying that, this is someone who ruled 300 years ago, how does that matter in today's day and age? But for a particular community, it seems that it still matters, because if they are instigating or inciting violence, chanting the name of this tyrant, then perhaps it is still relevant. Then don't say that it
Well,
is
if you
not
don't take-
relevant.
If the nation don't take a call on Aurangzeb, tomorrow it will be Azmal Kasab. They will say that, okay, let's let the Pune jail be converted to some tomb of Azmal Kasab, because he is the one who wanted to conquer India. He was the one to disturb the Indian harmony, the peace and harmony here. So they will go to that extent. So it's very important to ensure that the message should go loud and clear about Aurangzeb also. Ask us every day more than 50 kg of Janeau was weighed. and then he would have the breakfast. Ask us, our children were slaughtered, were cut into pieces, and the garland was made and was forced on the neck of the woman in this among the Sikhs. Our gurus were beheaded. The followers of the guru were sawed into two, was burnt alive, was boiled alive.
I want
Our
to bring
Chote
in.
Sahibzade,
I
give me a
want to
second,
bring in
give me a
Dhanraj.
second. Chote Sahibzade was skinned alive. So this friend of Uddhav Thackeray, or this Uddhav Thackeray new ideology, is in favor of Asbal Kazab.
C.S. Jha, I think it's time you respond to that, because why can't we, you were talking about comparing this with Manipur. Your party is talking about how Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu should be brought into the picture because they are busy appeasing the Muslim vote. But not even once have we heard a statement come in from Uddhav Sena where you are condemning how there's a eulogization of a tyrant like Aurangzeb.
See, we have very much said that we don't want to glorify, because in this channel also what we are hearing from BJP is about the things which have been carried on in past by Aurangzeb. So who wants to glorify it is very clear. We don't want to speak about Aurangzeb. We don't want to speak about his tyranny. We don't want to speak because all the things have happened, and he is nowhere in India to be suggested as a hero. And we don't want to glorify him. He was a cruel leader. We have forgotten, and we don't want to glorify him.
I want to now quickly bring in Mr. Dhanraj Vanjari, who is the former ACP of Mumbai. Mr. Vanjari, I want you to weigh in on this entire angle about how this could be a pre-planned conspiracy, the question of foreign funding, and should there now be a crackdown on these fringe political outfits like the Minority Democratic Party? We've already had our share of dealing with, say, the likes of the SDPI. How do you now assess the current political scenario in Maharashtra? Of course, much has been unnoticed so far as political affiliations with these fringe extremist elements are concerned.
Apart from the political dusting around, I would like to say there is a certain misconception and misstatement, misguiding from all the angles and sides. Because yesterday when Police Commissioner of Nagpur was saying, and earlier what he said it was not a conspiracy. Then he said, yes, it seems to be a conspiracy because after investigation I came to know this might be a conspiracy. So if the conspiracy theory works around, then definitely political anger cannot be undermined. There is a political anger because certain people were targeted. Certain statements were given by the Maharashtra Chief Minister on the forum of assembly, saying that this is a pre-planned attack. If it is a pre-planned attack, he is simply addressing the failure of his own machinery, because he is Home Minister also. His own machinery of intelligence of police, that police intelligence was not at place. So these controversies and the deviative statement seems to have noted by the people, and now people perceptively thinking that there might be something to hide. Now today a new angle has come up, that's a foreign funding.
Yes.
And it is Bangladesh.
Yes.
So let me tell you, Nagpur is famous for oranges, and a lot of orange trading being done between Nagpur, means Vidarbha region, and Bangladesh.
True.
So if that factor goes on and they can track the account and they can find out the funding is coming through business transactions or through any other thing, I think in the fair interest of the justice, we should give enough time to police to come to a concrete conclusion in this matter. What must have been happened, what must not have been happened, and if there is a conspiracy, then who were the part in the conspiracy and who had prima facie interest.
I think Mr. Hegde wants to make a point. Mr. Hegde, I'd like to bring you in. Yes.
No, I think ACP Vanjari has come in a bit late, because who are the conspirators? They have been arrested. Secondly, if there is a link...
No, but there could be more conspirators, Mr. Hegde. I'm sure you will agree.
Definitely.
That's what the Nagpur police itself has admitted.
If over
Mr. Hegde,
200...
conspiracy is not unending. Yes. It has its both the sides open. People, the street vendors have been arrested. That doesn't mean that conspiracy theory is wiped out. Conspiracy is the person who has the brain behind all this nonsense.
Obviously, Mr. Banjari, being a police officer, you should definitely know more than us. But petrol bombs, swords, axes, knives, and a truckload of stones do not come from thin air. Therefore, it is understood there has been a conspiracy. But who fomented the conspiracy has also been caught.
Yes.
Now the police are investigating.
Right. But I want to, in fact, give closing thoughts to Mr. Banjari since he joined.
And if there are more people who are coming to the picture,
okay,
they will also be
allow me 30 seconds to give Mr. Banjari the closing thoughts. Mr. Banjari, I also want you to weigh in when you say that there is a conspiracy also looking at a module which is operating in a very in a similar fashion to what we have been observing in Kashmir prior to 2019 when the abrogation of Article 370 actually took place. Having said that, if there are now parallels being drawn with Kashmir, what is your assessment of this entire situation now?
My first point is Kashmir is at far away. The dome of Aurangzeb is at Aurangabad, which is also quite distant thing.
No, but is it time for the NIA to step in? Because NIA is the one which was able to crack down on the kind of militancy we've seen plague the valley.
Yes, if time comes and if this nexus goes international money lending and all these things, money involvement through the foreign funding and all this angle speaks for the terrorist faction, then definitely NIA is welcome. What I'm saying that Sambhaji Nagar is far away from Nagpur. Why it was Nagpur #1? And the stones were felt as the lorry of the stone was not all of a sudden fall from the sky. There must have been some element involved in it, that of what I mean a conspiracy. And when state government says it is conspiracy, my simple question is your police machinery, though I am a cop, is your police machinery is at place intelligence wise, and whether the intelligence was collected in advance, and if it is not collected.
Closing thoughts to Sardar RP Singh. Sardar RP Singh, many are also questioning because we've seen, is there now a need to dial down on the communal rhetoric? Many are blaming the Sangh. On the other hand, they are also questioning why, say, leaders like Nitish Rane are instigating statements. Is it time to sort of tone down or dial down that communal rhetoric?
Akanksha, let's understand, it was not a riot. I mean, we are all naming it a riot. It was one-sided by one community and against another community. I mean, tell me one house which has been burnt of a Muslim, one car which has been burnt of a Muslim. So it was all being planned in a fashion, and to this extent that certain cars were removed in advance, and houses were numbered, and only those houses were attacked and with axes and with swords, which of a particular community. So this needs to be explored into. This needs to be investigated into, and probably it will take another week's time when we come to know the complete game plan behind it.
All right. I'm sure now that we all know and agree that, there is a pre-planned conspiracy which is currently being investigated. Not to forget the fact that the Home Department, of course, very much comes under the Chief Minister. I'm sure the Mahayuti will leave no stone unturned to crack this entire conspiracy. Many thanks to you, gentlemen, for joining in on The Plain Speak. And with that, let's now shift focus over to another discussion we are going to have. In fact, down south, Karnataka's salary hike has triggered a big controversy. We'll get you this big debate on the other side. Stay tuned to Plain Speak.
Freed Ukrainian prisoners of war celebrated on Wednesday after Russia and Ukraine each agreed to release 175 captured troops. Moscow said it freed an additional 22 wounded Ukrainians as a goodwill gesture, following a phone call between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. But just hours after that call, in which a deal was reached to pause attacks on energy infrastructure, both Russia and Ukraine accused each other of violating the new agreement. Moscow said Ukraine hit an oil depot in southern Russia, while Kyiv said Russia had struck hospitals and homes and knocked out power to some of its railways. This all came on the same day that Trump had a phone call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that Trump described as very good. Before their conversation, Zelensky said Moscow's continued attacks showed its words did not match its actions, and that Russia was not ready for peace. He also said that the United States should be in charge of monitoring any ceasefire.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
The hour-long call on Wednesday between Trump and Zelensky was their first conversation since an Oval Office meeting descended into a shouting match in late February.
Intelligence sharing in terms of defense for Ukraine will continue to be shared.
Later, White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said Zelensky asked Trump for additional air defense support, and that Trump said he would help locate the equipment in Europe. She also said Trump has moved beyond a previously negotiated U.S.-Ukraine minerals deal.
We've moved beyond just the economic minerals deal framework, and we're looking at a lasting ceasefire. Right now we're at a partial ceasefire, but again, the president is sending his highly skilled, intelligent, and experienced team to Saudi Arabia later this week to continue fighting for peace in this conflict.
Trump has long promised to end Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II, but his outreach to Putin has unnerved European allies, who fear it heralds a fundamental shift after 80 years in which defending Europe from Russian expansionism was the core mission of U.S. foreign policy. Freed Ukrainian prisoners of war celebrated on Wednesday after Russia and Ukraine each agreed to release 175 captured troops. Moscow said it freed an additional 22 wounded Ukrainians as a goodwill gesture, following a phone call between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. But just hours after that call, in which a deal was reached to pause attacks on energy infrastructure, both Russia and Ukraine accused each other of violating the new agreement. Moscow said Ukraine hit an oil depot in southern Russia, while Kyiv said Russia had struck hospitals and homes and knocked out power to some of its railways. This all came on the same day that Trump had a phone call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that Trump described as very good. Before their conversation, Zelensky said Moscow's continued attacks showed its words did not match its actions, and that Russia was not ready for peace. He also said that the United States should be in charge of monitoring any ceasefire.
You're in no position.
Welcome back. You're watching Plain Speak. I'm Akanksha Swarup. The Karnataka government is once again at the center of yet another controversy. The Siddaramaiah government has now approved a proposal to increase the salaries of state legislators, that too by 50%. The Chief Minister-led Business Advisory Committee in Karnataka recently sanctioned a 50% hike in salaries for members of the Legislative Assembly and ministers. And well, not to be forgotten, this decision comes amid financial challenges, including funding allocations for various social schemes. But our ministers in Karnataka are now rewarding themselves. CNN News 18, in fact, has accessed government draft bill details, and here's what it says. Let me break it down for you. Not 25 or 50, but a massive 100% hike in salary is what the Chief Minister of Karnataka has announced for himself, from 75,000 rupees to 1.5 lakhs now per month. Whereas the salaries of ministers now stand at 1.25 lakh rupees compared to the earlier amount of 60,000 rupees. Members of the Legislative Assembly in Karnataka are also looking at a 100% hike in salaries from 40,000 rupees to 80,000. Pensions for MLAs have also been increased by 25,000 rupees. The earlier allocated 50,000 rupees has now been raised to a 75,000 rupees every month. Furthermore, the additional pensions have been raised by 150%, as the amount now stands at rupees 20,000, which was earlier set at a mere 5,000 rupees. Viewers, that's not all that happened in Karnataka today. Merely minutes before the details of the draft legislation promising a fat pay hike trickled in, we also received details of how electricity consumers in the state will now bear surcharge brunt for 3 years, following pending arrears worth over 4,500 crores. This is not a tariff hike, but a surcharge. The 36 paise surcharge for the year 2025 to 26 will be charged starting 1st of April. And exactly why? As the successive governments have left pending pension and gratuity arrears worth over 4,500 crores. As per High Court order, the move is a means to recover over 2,800 crores worth of pending government employees' arrears from consumers. Furthermore, the PNG contributions will be revised for financial year 2026 up until 27 and so on and so forth for 2027 up until 2028. The consumers will have to pay 35 paise and 34 paise respectively. And that's what the developments have left us wondering. Are Congress government's priorities misplaced? Let's find out.
How to loot the Janata, give them jhuta guarantees, and then splurge on your own luxury, on your own convenience and VVIP treatment.
Justification is their expenditures are also going up along with other people. The common man is also suffering, and MLAs are also suffering. So that is why, based on that, I think the recommendations have come.
Joining me on the broadcast is Kailash Adhikari, who is a political analyst, and Raghu Dodari, who is a spokesperson for Karnataka Congress. Many thanks to you, gentlemen, for joining in. Raghu, if I may ask you, can you afford such a pay hike for your MLAs and ministers, that too when the state is suffering a massive cash crunch?
No, honestly, actually, it's just a regular process which all the states and the country has been following since 1947. So according to the Article 195, so these salary hikes have been, it's not a salary as such, it's an honorary, salary paid to the, legislatures, whoever is elected. So right now, I really don't understand why this, big issues has been around the state government increase the salary of an legislature by 40 to 45,000. If you compare with other states, Karnataka is the 16th, Karnataka stands at the 16th compared to Telangana and other states where state legislator salary is very, very low. In Telangana, legislators are drawing closely 3 lakh, where Karnataka legislators are drawing not even 1.5 lakh crore, which is after the increase of 1.5 lakh per month for every legislature. So I think this is a regular procedure every legislator followed in Karnataka and elsewhere in the country. Okay, so but I think compared to the services.
Okay, let me bring in Kailash on that note. Kailash, can we afford a regular legislative procedure as is being highlighted by Raghu right now at a time when there's a revenue deficit that the Karnataka government is talking about? You're looking at the pending government arrears and of course the previous governments are also being blamed for it. But it's the timing, and is this not a case of misplaced priorities?
Akanksha, it is a very big case of misplaced priorities. Firstly, I'd like to tell everyone that all this money naturally comes from the taxpayers. It is the Aam Aadmi, it is the Aam Janta who is paying the taxes, and the taxes that they pay is the revenue for the state government, be it direct taxes or indirect taxes or toll or any such kind of fuel tax or VAT, whatever. And from that, you are trying to foot the bill. And I was so surprised to see Karnataka's home minister, a minister that too of a cabinet rank of a home minister, saying that we are also suffering like the Aam Aadmi. Being an MLA, being a minister, half of your expenses, rather Akanksha, more than half of your expenses are taken care by the government itself, be it housing, be it DNS allowance, be it your housing, or be it your medical, or be it any such other facility, be it your cars or anything, even education, even in your travel, and then you're saying that you're suffering like the Aam Aadmi. I mean, this is the high-headedness of the Karnataka government and the Congress party, where they have not understood the kind of the pain that the Aam Aadmi goes through. The Aam Aadmi has put them into power, but now what they are trying to do is, at the expense of the Aam Aadmi, by making the Aam Aadmi suffer, they are trying to fill their own houses by putting the Karnataka government's treasury under coffers.
Okay. Raghu, how do you respond to that? Okay. While you come in to respond, yes. Raghu, give me a moment. I also have a question, and perhaps you can, in fact, answer us together. What explains these tariff hikes when you look at the power tariff that's been raised, when you look at the fuel sales tax that's been raised, the stamp duty has been raised, the milk costs and the KSRTC bus rates have also increased? I'm not going to refer to the metro rate, but as far as transport is concerned, you want the public to pay for transport, and you can increase the Euro ticket rates for them, but you will give travel allowance to these MLAs and ministers. Do they deserve this travel allowance?
Akanksha, first of all, let me make it very clear that Karnataka government has a very good health, financial health. And Karnataka stands second in the GSTP growth, and Karnataka is the second highest GST paid state in the entire country. Okay, the real reason why Karnataka is having such a financial distress is because of the central government's unscientific GST implementation and the price rise, especially on the fuel price, where the central government is taking away all the taxes collected. I'll just give you a simple example where state government is paying 6.5 lakh crore to the central exchequer and giving a 9.4% of the total GDP of the country is coming from the state government. But what the state government is getting back from the central is hardly a 51,000 crore. The real reason for the price rise and all this problem is because of the central government unhealthy relationship between the states, and that's the first reason. And the second reason why state government increasing the price is in the bus and other, it's because of the fuel prices. Let the central government bring these fuel prices under the GST. We welcome them to bring under the GST, where the prices will come down. Because of the fuel prices, central government is getting the fuel prices at a very less prices, but still that the highest money which they have collected, about 50 lakh crore worth in the last 10 years, it is not transferred back to the states. Because of this distress, central government, the greedy central government is taking away all the power of the state government's tax collection, and they're just distressing and draining the power of the economy of the state.
All right, Kailash, this is a defense that's come on expected lines, because during the budget presentation,
this is not a defense at all.
That's a question I'm posing to Kailash, if you may allow me, Raghu. Kailash, so this is what even Siddaramaiah has openly tom-tommed in, and perhaps rightly so, because he says that they've brought down the revenue deficit from over 27,000 crore rupees down to slightly over 19,000 crore rupees. And they of course take credit for being one of the highest contributors to the country's GDP.
Aren't you agree with that?
It's not in my place to agree or disagree. Let Kailash answer that.
Akanksha, firstly, I do not understand what kind of defense is this. If you say that the central government has not paid you money, then how on earth you are explaining new SUVs for your ministers? How on earth you are explaining the fact that the legislators have demanded rupees 20 crore to be allocated for a club to be inaugurated and created and constructed for yourself? If you are in such an agony, and that to an alleged agony that the center is not giving you money and you are under such distress, then under distress you are thinking of luxury. I mean, I'm surprised by the fact that how come under distress one can think of luxury. Firstly, it is the responsibility of the state first to meet the demands of the citizens. In a democracy, you live for the people, by the people, and of the people. You do not live for yourself, your family, and your your own lineage. And this is where the problem lies with the Congress government, that first is family, then is your own self, and last mein khadi aati hai Janta, where actually it should be the Janta at the forefront, your citizen, your voter at the forefront. If you believe that you have surplus and you have done so well, that come out with certain schemes which help the citizens of the state. How can you think of first you should
वो
have
schemes तो तब आएंगे जो current existing schemes है उनको तो पूरा कर ले, वो schemes तो बाद में आएंगी ना. But Raghu, I am actually reminded of Mary Antoinette, who said that if they don't have bread to eat, give them cakes, and that's exactly what the Chief Minister is doing when he's talking about splurging on the house makeovers. You have the SUVs for ministers, recliners in the Vidhan Saudha. Where's you still don't have the money to look after the civic infrastructure, which is in a mess.
My dear Kailash and Akanksha, it is just to remember and just to remind you all, Karnataka government, we are paying 6.7 lakh crore for tax money to the central government, and we are just getting only 51,000 back to the state.
But have you done away with the revenue deficit?
Second, please.
Have you done away with the revenue deficit? It still exists, right?
Yeah, please give me a minute, please. So remaining 6 lakh fund is distributed to the other state across the state. For your salary hike, whatever, the entire salary per year, we are paying only 54 crore, not even 54.
Okay.
We are paying 52,000 crore for the welfare of the people.
Okay.
So 4.5 crore people are benefiting our guarantee schemes, which is very clearly shows that the Karnataka government is committed to the welfare of the people.
Okay. And I'll give closing thoughts to Kailash since I let you open the debate.
Give me one more point. No, give me a second. And whatever the 20 crore, so the state budget is 4 lakh crore. Out of that, whatever the 454 crore, just a 54 crore is paid as an honorary payment to the employee legislature, which is very less. So, by considering the effort what they'll put to bring down the, bring the state into the order and help the people and implement this welfare schemes, it is. And if you are talking about 9.4% of the GDP is coming out from the state, it is purely because of the legislator who are putting their hard effort to make a Karnataka.
Okay, I'm running short of time. Let me also give closing thoughts to Kailash. Kailash, before you respond to what Raghu was saying, do keep in mind, how do you respond to those who are saying that this is rather hypocritical of the BJP to now question? Because remember, under the Bommai government, their government had also introduced 2 bills in the parliament demanding a 50% salary hike for the ministers and the MLAs.
I think Akanksha,
that's a question for Kailash. Yeah.
Akanksha, when my friend gentleman spoke about the state budget and the various things, I'm reminded of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal's interview when he became the first time the Chief Minister of Delhi. And I think your broadcast network was the one to question him कि आपने इतना सब प्रॉमिस कर दिया, आप लाओगे कहाँ से? तो बोले दिल्ली का 40,000 करोड़ का बजट है, कहीं ना कहीं से तो ला देंगे. This was his answer. And now we know after 10 years of his rule that ना वो हो पाया, ना जो बाकी के बजट थे, ना दिल्ली को इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मिल पाया, ना पानी मिल पाया, ना कुछ मिल पाया. यहाँ आपका स्टेट एक फिस्कल डेफिसिट में चल रहा है. जब आप when the body is not able to produce its own blood, जब आपको एक्सटर्नल पैसे की जरूरत है, जब आप टेक्निकली आप borrowed blood dialysis पे हो.
I think it's very simple, and the logic is that it should be people first, and then the representatives can they afford to in fact give themselves a salary hike like this. Many thanks to you gentlemen for joining in a case involving an attack on a minor in Uttar Pradesh. Today the Allahabad High Court has ruled that actions like grabbing breasts or snapping a pajama string do not constitute rape or attempt to rape, but can be considered aggravated sexual assault. The observation has attracted mixed reactions, with many questioning if these acts do not depict intention to rape, then what does? And that's to be posing to our guest.
You as far as this judgment from the Allahabad High Court?
The High Court has erred in analysing the attempt itself along with the circumstances surrounding the incident. Once you look at what has been alleged, which is the grabbing of the breast along with pulling of the pajama, the intent of the accused becomes very clear under 354B, which is to rape, which is to intent is to incite the modesty, not only to incite the modesty but also to commit an act of rape. That is very clear. Along with that, the child is 11 years old. So there was also, in the summoning order, also POCSO sections were applied. They've not been summoned under POCSO as well, where they should be, because Section 9 of the POCSO very clearly states, 9M, states that any child below the age of 12, when an attempt to such is made, then they will be prosecuted under Section 10 of the POCSO, which is aggravated sexual assault.
Okay, joining me now is Prashant Khanna, who's a senior advocate at the Supreme Court. Many thanks to you, Mr. Khanna, for joining in. First of all, to begin with the basics, what's your assessment of what the Allahabad High Court has had to say that, grabbing of breasts or unstringing the pajamas do not amount to rape? How do you respond or assess this entire order?
Yeah, prima facie, when we read this thing, it's an unfortunate judgment because what more can amount to an attempt to rape in when the strings of the pajama has been break. And peculiarly in this case, what has happened actually, when we read the facts of the case, that this minor, we must understand that the girl was a minor, 14 years old. She was taken by these two accused person near a bridge in a culvert that is under a bridge actually in village. These are big pipes which are used in canal system, and there in a secluded place, these incidents were done. And when the witnesses approached to protect her, they were shown a country-made pistol. That means these two accused persons were armed also, and had these witnesses not reached there, then this offense of rape would have been committed. However, the High Court has taken a very lenient view
All
and
right.
has decreased the charges from 376 to 354B. That is outraging the modesty of women. I must say that decreasing these charges of to the outraging modesty of women or try to disrobe a woman in public view is a very brilliant approach from the High Court, and it is going to set a wrong precedent, especially in cases of child sexual assault against a child. The High Court has not considered at all, or has not put the victimization of a child into center, but it has taken a more lenient view towards the accused actually.
Okay. Mr. Khanna, do you think or do you agree that by passing the judgment, the court has overreached by not considering the intent of the criminal?
So court has actually not discussed about the intention of the accused in the matter, but from the circumstances or from the case that was registered by the victim's mother, was that they had taken her to a secluded place, and also they had the country made pistol. But what weighed with the court was actually that the mother of the accused number one of the accused had actually lodged a case 2 months before against the brother-in-law of the victim's mother, that is chacha ya uncle of the victim. So that weighed more instead of the allegations that were made. And in those circumstances, the court has find it reasonably unbelievable that those things may have happened. So in this slide, the court has taken a little lenient view. But what actually legally is more disturbing is that once the charge has been framed by the district court or the lower court which will try the matter, if the charges have been framed to a more lenient section, then it becomes very difficult for the district court, even if it gets the evidence that there was an attempt to rape, it cannot change the section for a higher punishment. So in that view of the matter, I must say that this has to be set aside or set right by the higher court, that is the Supreme Court.
That's a very interesting point that you've made, which is why I want to ask you, now that the court has directed that the accused should instead be tried for lesser charges under Section 354 of the IPC and Section 9 and 10 of the POCSO Act that amounts to aggravated sexual assault, how do you assess this order to alter charges?
But actually, in my opinion, what the accusation has been made by the victim's mother, that does amount to an attempt to rape, because as I said, they took her to a secluded place, they grabbed her breast, then they also broke her pajama, and they also had a country-made pistol. It was only because of the intervention of two people that this incident was stopped. So keeping all things aside, and the victim being a minor, the court should not have interfered, the High Court should not have interfered and let the trial court complete the trial.
Yes.
Because here what has happened that the trial has been interfered in middle. Or if the lesser charges or if the charge has been framed under lesser offense, then it becomes difficult for the trial court itself to punish them under a higher level of offense or punish them with a higher punishment. So what the trial court has framed charges in that the punishment is of 20 years or up to life imprisonment. But now High Court has framed charges under two sections which are punishable only up to 7 years of imprisonment. And moreover, I would say that since there was a child, the High Court should not have taken this approach and let the trial court decide on that.
Absolutely leaves several questions unanswered. Who protects the victims, and are the protectors also now becoming the perpetrators through orders like these? Many thanks to you, Mr. Khanna, for joining in on Plain Speak. And with that, it's a quick wrap from my end. Thank you so much for watching. Up next is The Right Stand with Anand Narasimhan.
Brought to you by
Freed Ukrainian prisoners of war celebrated on Wednesday after Russia and Ukraine each agreed to release 175 captured troops. Moscow said it freed an additional 22 wounded Ukrainians as a goodwill gesture, following a phone call between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. But just hours after that call, in which a deal was reached to pause attacks on energy infrastructure, both Russia and Ukraine accused each other of violating the new agreement. Moscow said Ukraine hit an oil depot in southern Russia, while Kyiv said Russia had struck hospitals and homes and knocked out power to some of its railways. This all came on the same day that Trump had a phone call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that Trump described as very good. Before their conversation, Zelensky said Moscow's continued attacks showed its words did not match its actions, and that Russia was not ready for peace. He also said that the United States should be in charge of monitoring any ceasefire.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
The hour-long call on Wednesday between Trump and Zelensky was their first conversation since an Oval Office meeting descended into a shouting match in late February.
Intelligence sharing in terms of defense for Ukraine will continue to be shared.
Later, White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said Zelensky asked Trump for additional air defense support, and that Trump said he would help locate the equipment in Europe. She also said Trump has moved beyond a previously negotiated U.S.-Ukraine minerals deal.
We've moved beyond just the economic minerals deal framework, and we're looking at a lasting ceasefire. Right now we're at a partial ceasefire, but again, the president is sending his highly skilled, intelligent, and experienced team to Saudi Arabia later this week to continue fighting for peace in this conflict.
Trump has long promised to end Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II, but his outreach to Putin has unnerved European allies, who fear it heralds a fundamental shift after 80 years in which defending Europe from Russian expansionism was the core mission of U.S. foreign policy. Freed Ukrainian prisoners of war celebrated on Wednesday after Russia and Ukraine each agreed to release 175 captured troops. Moscow said it freed an additional 22 wounded Ukrainians as a goodwill gesture, following a phone call between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. But just hours after that call, in which a deal was reached to pause attacks on energy infrastructure, Both Russia and Ukraine accused each other of violating the new agreement. Moscow said Ukraine hit an oil depot in southern Russia, while Kyiv said Russia had struck hospitals and homes and knocked out power to some of its railways. This all came on the same day that Trump had a phone call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that Trump described as very good. Before their conversation, Zelensky said Moscow's continued attacks showed its words did not match its actions, and that Russia was not ready for peace. He also said that the United States should be in charge of monitoring any ceasefire.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
The hour-long call on Wednesday between Trump and Zelensky was their first conversation since an Oval Office meeting descended into a shouting match in late February.
Intelligence sharing in terms of defense for Ukraine will continue to be shared.
Later, White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said Zelensky asked Trump for additional air defense support, and that Trump said he would help locate the equipment in Europe. She also said Trump has moved beyond a previously negotiated U.S.-Ukraine minerals deal.
We've moved beyond just the economic minerals deal framework, and we're looking at a lasting ceasefire. Right now we're at a partial ceasefire, but again, the president is sending his highly skilled, intelligent, and experienced team to Saudi Arabia later this week to continue fighting for peace.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I am Anand Narsimhan. 3 years of leadership, and viewers, we have to very, very humbly thank you for your patronage and hope this partnership continues and you continue to view us here at CNN News 18. By the way, we'd also like to know how you like our new look.